Hello friends, and welcome to Escaping the Mouse with your host, me, Breck Roll. Alright, we're going to do another episode of Bites and Nibbles with Breck today. Today we are going to make a spicy Cajun stew. I saw this in one of my recipe books. It looks like a pretty simple recipe. Looks like it got a whole bunch of yummy things in it, and I definitely want to try this and see if it's going to be any good. It should be great. Let's take a look at the ingredients. These are the ingredients for a spicy Cajun stew. Pretty simple ingredients actually. It's some Polish sausage, some diced tomatoes and green chilies, little chicken broth, some white rice, and some spinach. Now the recipe actually calls for frozen spinach, but you know me, if it's going to require a veggie of some kind, I'm going fresh. That's way better and next to the whole frozen thing, right? So let's get going. Alright, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to chop up my sausage into about 1/4 inch bite-sized chunks. I'm not going to do that on camera. If you're really unsure how to chop up a sausage into 1/4 inch chunks, I'm sure you can Google it and figure it out. So I'll catch up with you in a few. Okay, so about 30 minutes has passed. I've gotten basically everything ready. I've chopped up my sausage into little chunks. I've chopped up my spinach. I poured out my chicken broth, measured out my rice, and opened up the cans of the tomatoes and chilies. First thing we're going to do is we are going to brown our sausage in a saucepan, in a rather large saucepan, because I don't think I mentioned this before, but I'm doubling this recipe just because it looks so good, and I just think I'm going to like a lot of this. So I'm going to brown my sausage for a few minutes until, like I said, it's a little brown on a medium heat, and then we'll go from there. Now, I've been browning the sausage for a while. I'm going to actually modify the recipe here because the recipe actually says that all the ingredients will ultimately fit into this skillet, and because I've doubled the recipe, I'm a little concerned that that's going to happen. So what's going to happen here is I'm going to transfer all the sausage into this large pot here, and we'll finish up the recipe in here. So the sausage is starting to look pretty good. It smells really good. I can't wait to try this. We're going to give it a little bit more time. We're going to keep it moving a little bit more, and then we'll transfer it over to the pot and we'll finish up everything in there. I think that'll work better because we definitely won't run out of room in this thing, right? But you could smell this. This smells fantastic. Alright, a little bit more time has passed. I have now transferred the sausage, which I think is nice and brown, into this big pot, and I am going to pour in our chicken broth and our tomato sauce. This is the tomatoes and the chilies, and that's going to give it the real flavor. Yum, yum. And then I'm going to kind of just all mix it together, and we're going to let this cook for a little bit. We're going to bring it up to a boil and cook for a few minutes. Then we're going to put in our spinach and our rice. This I think is going to be pretty good. Catch up with you in a little bit. Oh, and one of the other reasons I go with fresh veggies whenever possible, Flash loves the leftovers. Oh, and we got a little bit of rain coming in too. Looking forward to that. I was talking to my mom a little bit ago, and while I was on the phone with her, the weather radio went off, and I looked at the radar at the time, and there was nothing showing up on the radar that looked like it was going to be an issue. But I pointed out to her, it's like, yeah, but that's how the weather in Texas works. They pop up real fast. Look at that. In probably the space of an hour, that's gone from nothing to that. So yeah, we're going to have a little rain blowing through here too. That should be good. We need it. Okay, we brought the whole concoction up to a boil. At this point, we are going to add our spinach into this and kind of stir it all in. That seems like an awful lot of spinach, but That's what it calls for. I'm actually going to have to pull this out by hand here. I kind of know that the spinach will kind of soften up and merge in there a little bit as time goes. It looks like it's going to be good though. Alright, I'm going to put the camera down for a second and put the rest of that in there. I'll show you the finished product in a moment here. There we go, that's a little bit better. Now we're going to bring this back up to a boil again. We're going to let it simmer for about 2 minutes and then we'll add the rice. I'll catch up with you then. Alright, this has been boiling now a little bit for a couple minutes, which is what it calls for. What I'm going to do now is going to turn off the heat. We're going to pour our rice into this. We're going to kind of stir everything together here. And we're just going to kind of let this simmer in its own juices here for a little while. Looks pretty good though, doesn't it? Oh yeah. Alright, put that aside. We're going to put a cover on it. That'll kind of allow the heat to stay inside here and, like I said, simmer in its own juices a little bit. Catch up with you in a bit. Okay, this is set for a while. We're still kind of boiling a little bit, which I guess is sort of expected when you have as much as we have here. But that looks pretty good, doesn't it? Can't wait to try this. Let's wait no longer. Alright, it's time for the all-important taste test. I gotta say this smells really good, so I expect I'm not going to be disappointed. You may hear a little bit of rain in the background. I got the window open because we got a nice little electrical storm come in. I'll show you a little bit of that afterwards. But for now, let's start off with a nice piece of sausage here. This can probably be pretty hot because it's been cooking for a while. Really good. Good flavor. I would say I wouldn't call this spicy Cajun. I'd call this kind of a medium spice. It might be enough for most people. I may end up goosing it up a little bit, but I definitely have the tools to do that. So let's try a little of the broth and the spinach and the rice and the tomatoes this time and get an overall judge of the flavor here. Yeah, it's really good. It does have a nice little bite to it. It isn't, like I said, it isn't overwhelming. If you're not really into the spice, you know, you might not have a problem with it. But you know, it's really good, really flavorful, really tasty. I definitely recommend this one. I'll put this in the description below and you can check it out if you like. And until then, I think that's all that I have for today. Thank you as always for watching, and I'll see you next time on Escaping the Mouse. Bon appetit. was noticing all the sheet lightning going on around here. Let's see if we can get around here and get some better views of this. Wow. That was a good one. I hope the camera's actually picking some of this up. Sheet lightning is sometimes called cloud-to-cloud lightning. You don't usually hear the thunder with it, but it can be very spectacular. Does the sky do that where you live? Wow, that was a good one. That was a good one too. That seems to be the area I got to point at right now.